Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Colleen Vanderzijden, and the name of the show is called Embracing Your Essence, and we are live for Lilydale Radio. As you are joining in, give me a nice hello, give me your name, where you're from. I would love to hear from you, to know number one, you can watch me and everything is good, but also I'm curious. I want to know where you are and where you're from. Today we are going to be talking about inspired vision. Before I get to that though, let me just give you some details of things. As I said, I'm Colleen Vanderzijden. I'm a registered medium at Lilydale. I'm also a certified intuitive life coach. Now, sometimes people think an intuitive life coach means I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, more of a psychic line, and that's not the case. Intuitive life coaches, I connect in with guides, spirits from the other side to get messages. It's not mediumship messages though. It's guidance to help you take action steps to live the best life that you possibly can and to help you solve your problems so you feel better. So that's what intuitive life coaching is. It's all about giving you strategies so you live better. As a medium, of course, we connect with our loved ones on the other side. Hello, Billy. Nice to see you. Hi, Ashley and Joanna. Thank you for letting me know it's all good. You just never know. I'm in a new location, and so, I just never know with technology things. Hi, Ray. Hi, Joy. Thank you for joining me. So if you are just joining me, this is Embracing Your Essence on Lilydale Radio, and we will be talking about inspired vision tonight. And what this is looking beyond our physical reality to view life from a divine perspective. I'm going to talk about some different ways, some exercises, if you will, to help you expand your vision, and you can use these to improve your life. You'll improve how you look at your life. You'll improve how you look at people. You'll improve how you look at your problems. You'll be looking everything from a higher perspective, touching in energetically, rather than looking at the surface as we so frequently do, noticing our external problems and focusing on those. So we get caught up in the pain and the suffering that comes from our issues. So if we can look at life from a different, higher perspective using inspired vision, you will actually end up happier. Isn't that what we all want? I think it is. So hello, everybody. Julie and Candace and Carla, thank you for joining me. And so, before I get to my topic, I do want to say exciting news. The Lilydale Assembly program book is at the printer, and it should be available to be mailed to you by the end of the month. Isn't that exciting? So you can get your own physical copy of the program book listing all of the workshops, everything that's happening for the Lilydale summer season. You can also go to lilydaleassembly.org, which is the official website, and you can find the program book there. So if you look at the top tabs, you'll see Learn. Click on Learn. You'll see a calendar. Below the calendar is a link to view the actual catalog. So you can go page by page through the catalog. I started today, did not finish it because I was busy with other things, but it's looking like an amazing season. We have some beautiful, wonderful people coming to present workshops and visit as mediums as well. If you don't know about Lilydale, it is the largest spiritualist community in the world, basically, and people from all over the world normally come in the summertime especially to take workshops, have a reading, just experience the peace that is Lilydale. So lilydaleassembly.org, and you can see what is being offered. Tickets will not go on sale, however, for programs, workshops and things until the end of the month, March 31st. I would give it a couple days. I wouldn't like if everybody logs on the same day that we could have a problem. So I would give it a couple days to kind of settle in, and then you can get your tickets. Wouldn't that be wonderful? I think it's going to be wonderful. So, as I said, what else do we have to tell you? Oh, follow Lilydale Assembly Incorporated on Facebook. I am live on my page, Colleen Vanderzijden, Medium and Intuitive Life Coach. You can follow me there if you have not yet. I am also live on Lilydale Assembly Incorporated's official page. Follow Lilydale on their page. And there you have everything you need to know. So today, as I said, we are going to be talking about inspired vision. We want to learn how to look beyond our physical reality and view life from that divine perspective. There are several reasons why we want to do that. One, it's a good thing to view things from a divine perspective, but in our humanness, we will actually feel better. We will have more joy. We'll be able to let go of some of the stress and the worry that comes from our external problems. So I will go through some ideas to help you think about this. 3 things in particular. One will be an actual process we will go through where you will get to play with my ideas, and we will discuss different ways to see things. So thank you all for joining me. So I want to tell you, I was getting ready to board a plane, and I was watching the gate person who was scanning the boarding passes, and he caught my eye because he was making a point to look at every single person as he scanned their boarding pass and made a positive comment towards everyone. You know, something simple like, "Hi, how are you? Welcome, nice to see you. Have a great trip. Hope you're having a good day." He did this with every single person. It was amazing to me, and I was really impressed by his sincerity. You know, he was doing his job, but he totally fixated on each person's face to make a comment. Most people did not notice. I noticed because I was still in line and I was watching him. And when I got to him, I said to him, "You do such a great job of connecting with each person as you look them in the eye and make a personal greeting for every single one." Excuse me. I didn't want to hold up the line, so I didn't want to have a full-on conversation with him. But he paused, and he looked and turned and looked right at me. And he said, "Thank you so much for telling me that." And I said, "You're really making a difference with how people feel as they're boarding this plane." I'm sure he's been well trained to do this, you know, to make those personal connections, because so many of the airlines now have a point of doing that. But watching him, there seemed to be more to it than just simple training. His sincerity was obvious. He was attempting to make a genuine, energetic connection with each person. It was amazing. Sometimes when we have a monotonous task, such as checking people in for a flight, we can forget that we're dealing with people. There was another time I had a different experience where I was in the emergency room with my son, as usual. We went there a lot. And we were in the triage room, and the nurse was asking questions. She never once looked up at either of us. She would look at the paper, ask a question, jot something down, go to the next question. After about 5 minutes, I said to her, "Hey, Mary, how you doing?" She was actually somebody I knew, and she had not yet realized I was in the room. Now, my son has a different last name than I do, so on the paperwork, she wouldn't have picked up on the fact I was there, but that's not the point of the story, right? So when I said something to her, she looked up, and she was so embarrassed, and she says, "I am so sorry. Sometimes I get caught up in filling out these forms. I forget to look at the people who are sitting right in front of me." We've all been in states of unawareness, where we live in habits most of the time. We do the same thing time after time after time. We are truly can be unaware of our surroundings. We don't notice anything. How many times have you driven down the road and looked at something and said, "Hey, how long has that been there?" And it's like you're seeing it for the first time. It may have been there for weeks, and sometimes you find out it has been there for weeks. We're just living in a fog of unawareness. We may be bored in the mundane or the unimportant, in quotes, tasks, those things that we don't really want to do, and we're just getting through them. We might be distracted. We might be focused on our problems or what we're doing. We could be daydreaming, lost in those thoughts, how we can just kind of wander away sometimes. Sometimes we pass people we don't know on the street or in a store, and we don't really acknowledge them, do we? Part of it is we've learned not to intrude on other people's spaces or talk to strangers. And because of those beliefs, those thoughts, we may not even be aware of them. We may not even see them. Walk by somebody and not see them. And I'm sure many of you can probably attest to the fact you have done something like that, where you've walked by somebody and somebody said to you later, "Hey, you didn't even say anything to me," and you go, "I didn't even see you." So we don't pay attention. We don't notice the details of our environment. We make unaware assumptions and interpretations about people or situations, and we react in our lives from those stories. All of this contributes to us living in this fog of unawareness. In this unawareness, we are not connecting. We're not connecting to our surroundings. We're not connecting to people. We're not connecting to ourselves. We're not connecting to our situations and really seeing them for what they are. If we were to have inspired vision, we would be living in a high vibrational state of intentional connection and perspective and appreciation. We would be seeing the truth that lies beyond the physical. That would help us diffuse this fog of unawareness. Okay, I call it inspired vision because we're looking at life differently. We're looking beyond the physical, the external problems we have. We're going to go deeper than that. The word inspire means to breathe in, to inhale, and it also means to be guided by the divine. So, inspire is to inhale the divine. When we breathe, we connect to spirit. That's how we connect to the universal divine energy in our breath. So inspire is breathing in, inhaling the divine. Inspired vision is connecting with that divine, and we're opening our eyes to see beyond that physical, to embrace the connection we have with everyone and everything. We are all one. We've talked about that in the past. We are all one. So when we make this decision to use inspired vision, we look at life from a new perspective. From our limited human view, which is the view we've lived with throughout our lives, we get stuck in what we're experiencing in the physical. We get stuck in the boredom, the mundane. We get stuck in our problems, the challenges. We see them, but we're only seeing the surface of them. We're not seeing, again, the depth of it within those situations. We glance over things and we don't really pay attention. We may fixate on those problems and concerns, and that's when we get stuck in the pain, the suffering, the worrying, the sadness. We're fixated on the external. When we use inspired vision, we open our eyes to that new perspective where we're going to look beyond that. I'm going to repeat that so many times because I really want you to understand it. We're going to look beyond it and look basically from the eyes of our soul. We're going to see. We're going to have a clear view beyond the physical reality so that we can move past being stuck in the external situations and problems. When you see with this, the inspired vision, you will release the pain and suffering because you'll be releasing the habitual, unaware behaviors as we react to those external situations. This is like a little philosophy class right now, okay? It's like a philosophy class, isn't it? And what we're going to do is we want to get rid of those worries, don't we? We want to be happier. We want to be living in that energy of the divine. And when we are in inspired vision, consciously, intentionally choosing to use it, to view life from a higher perspective, we will be happier. It is a fact. It is a given. So how do we do that? So of course, we are going to start simply with, you guessed it, yes, our breath. Okay, we're going to start with the breath because our inhale, inspire, is inhaling the divine. Okay, before I start our little process, I just want to welcome you again. If you have not, didn't hear the beginning of what I was talking about, I'm Colleen van der Zijden, a medium at Lilydale. The name of the show is called Embracing Your Essence. It's all about you, embracing who you are at your core, your soul level, so you can live your most exciting, wonderful, joyful life. And that's what I do every week, is we talk about a little topic or a big topic that can help you shift your perspective to live at your soul level so you are happier. As you're joining and you have questions or comments, please do put them in the area. I can see them on my page, but I cannot see them right now on Lilydale's page, but I will check them immediately following the show and respond as to your questions. So we are talking today about inspired vision. So we are going to do a little process because I want you to have a feeling of what this is like. So if you're not driving, you can close your eyes. And what we want you to do is to take a deep breath with the intention of connecting to the divine. And your inhale automatically takes you there. So you want to see from the divine perspective. You're going to inhale and connect with the intention of seeing from the divine perspective. Anytime, not just in this exercise, but anytime you want to connect with spirit, the divine energy, it's as simple as a breath away. The more you breathe, the deeper the breath goes, the stronger your connection will be. Your breath strengthens that connection. So just relax, breathe, and connect. And now, you may notice this with your breath, simply with your breath, that you've already relaxed. Now, what I want you to do is open your eyes and look at your surroundings as though you've never seen them before. Just look around your room, wherever you happen to be. If you're sitting outside, look outside. If you're inside, look in your room. Really look at your room. Keep breathing. And what you're going to do is observe. Observing is without emotional attachment. You're not going to be looking and judging, saying, oh, this place is just such a mess. I don't know. When am I going to clean it up? And start judging yourself for that. You're not going to say, oh, it's so dirty. You're not going to do any of that. That would be an emotional attachment. We're just going to observe. You're going to really look at the physical. Look at the colors. Look at the shapes. Look at the way the light is hitting whatever you have in your room. You're just looking at it right now, just looking at it. And you're going to start to notice there's some beauty within this. And now as you're doing this, just keep breathing as you do it and keep just looking around your room. If something catches your attention, and it's likely something will, and if it hasn't, pick something that you think catches your eye for some reason. And I want you to really immerse yourself in it. Really look at it. And what's happening now is you're inhaling the divine. Remember, as you're doing this, you're connecting. You're becoming inspired. You're becoming inspired in your vision. And as you breathe and connect with this, really look. You may notice the colors are deeper. If you have a plant in your room, you may notice the green is very strong, or you might notice the darker areas. If you're looking at a treasured object, you might recognize the beauty in that and recognize also that it's giving you peace and joy just simply by looking at it. As you're connecting with this, you're just observing it, and your energy is starting to shift, actually. What's going to happen is your energy will move beyond just those physical attributes. Now remember, you're looking at this like you've never seen it before. And as your energy moves beyond the physical attributes of this object, it's going to expand, your energy will expand to include other senses. So be open, be aware. Now we're increasing your awareness, not just of what you're looking at, but also your awareness of yourself, your body. Notice physical sensations. You may notice sensations within your body. You may notice sensations around or on your body, on touching your skin, or you may notice a breath of air, as a gentle breeze moves. You might feel more relaxed. You might feel tingling. You might feel hot or cold. Okay, so you might start to notice some physical things as your senses are expanding. We've used your vision to connect with your energy, and now it's expanding to include your other senses as well. As you're doing this, some of you might even be seeing energy coming off of the objects. Don't doubt, don't question. Whatever you see, whatever you notice, whatever you feel is what you're supposed to be feeling. Some of you may start to feel like you're moving into a meditation or a trance where you're just really getting immersed. This is a fun thing to play with, okay? And you can play with it, of course, later as well. As you're looking at this, you might start to even get some insights. You might start to get some messages. Keep breathing and keep connecting. Pay attention, be aware. You might even feel a release in your emotions. If you've been holding on to something, it may start to come to the surface so you can release it. Let it. You may start to notice more peace or tranquility. You might start feeling as though the physical life is so minute compared to a bigger picture, that there's more to the physical life than what you have been experiencing. You'll start to feel the universe, basically. You may start to feel that. And as you move into these different sensations, different feelings, you may experience the sense of wonder or appreciation, really noticing the beauty. This inspired vision, by looking at something that as though you've never seen it before. You're seeing it in the physical form, but underneath, there's an energetic connection. You're looking beyond that physical and you're connecting with the energy. And in this space, you can receive guidance or messages or insights. You might have the peace. You might understand that eternal nature of life, realizing that there's more to life than our external situations or interpretations, that there's more to life than that. So we're going to breathe and just feel that and stay there for a few more seconds. If you had some interesting insights or thoughts, definitely write them down so you don't forget them. Jot them down, put them in your phone, scrap of paper, or whatever. Write them down. And just take one final breath and recognize that you can come back to this space at any time. And now we're just going to come back here and you can get back focusing with me as I continue on. And I will talk a little bit about that experience. If you had an interesting experience, I would love to hear about it in your comments. We did it a little bit quickly, of course, and I kept talking because we don't want dead air in radio or TV. So hopefully you were able to shut me out if you needed to and get the messages you want. But I would love to hear your experiences. When we connect with an object, whether it's a man-made object or a natural object, we go to a different place. We use our vision to see beyond, okay? I did this outside, sitting on the patio, and I just happened to catch a rock on the ground. It came into my perspective there, and I looked at it, and I was like, oh, so I started looking at this rock. And I just started noticing what it looked like. And as I was looking at it, I could see the energy coming off the rock. And if you haven't seen energy before, it's kind of like a shimmering that you would get on hot pavement on a hot sunny day. It kind of looks like that. Sometimes people will see colors as well. So I started to see something like that. And as I focused on this rock, the rest, everything else in the physical around that rock just kind of disappeared. Kind of the same way when I'm doing messages at the stump. I'm looking at a person connecting with a spirit, and everybody else just fades away. I don't even notice them anymore. I don't see them. They're there. I know they're there. But I'm so immersed in what I'm doing. It's the same principle. So as I focused on that rock, it became very grounding for me. And I felt very connected to the universal energy, and I felt peaceful. It was very meditative. So you can use this as a meditative exercise as well as looking beyond what's there. Joanna is saying, I'm feeling very validated. So you can get all sorts of things. Looking at your surroundings is a great method to disengage from the worries and stress. So if you're having a rough day, something's going on, do this. And that's not the point of the exercise today, but it works. Do this, and it will get you back in the present, away from those worries and stress. It'll ground you, and then you'll be able to look at your problems with a clearer perspective. You'll have used your inspired vision to move forward. Connecting with nature is perfect first step for doing this. If you've never done this before, looking at something in nature, because you can look at the grass and you can hear sounds, you can see the trees, look at water, look at birds, animals, and it can take you to a really deep level because it provides so much beauty, but it also provides such a connection to nature and everything. Part of the reason looking at nature works so well is we don't have emotional attachments to it like we do with our problems, like relationship issues or job concerns where we're stressed or worried. When we observe nature, we don't get stressed out over the color of grass or the sky, or we don't judge a bird as it flies by. We don't judge it, nature, and we don't judge ourselves. So looking at nature can help us get out of our own way, where we're not judging, we're not making interpretations, we're not stuck in those kinds of problems anymore. So when we practice looking at nature, it helps us be more objective. We don't have that emotional attachment, and it opens the pathway to the higher perspective. So it's easier for us to look at life from the inspired vision perspective. Then we're connecting with the divine, so we can see beyond the physical. Hi, Denise. Nice to see you. And as if you've experienced this, let me know what you're thinking about it. So after you've done this, played with this idea, looking at your surroundings as though it's the first time ever, get you back in the present, helps you connect with the energy underneath. Then the next thing to do would be to use this inspired vision to connect with people, to really look at them. The man who was scanning our boarding passes looked beyond that physical boring task and connected energetically with each person. He wasn't stuck in the stories about how boring his job is or how rude people can be, and I'm sure he's had more than his fair share of that. He was intentionally opening up to each person, recognizing and acknowledging their innate energy. Now, if I were to say that to him, he would probably go, "What are you talking about?" But that's what he was doing. He was naturally making those authentic, genuine connections. When you look at people, who are they underneath their physical exterior, underneath their behaviors, underneath their words or actions, or the attitudes they express? Can you use your inspired vision to look beyond who you think they are or who they seem to be and actually see their soul? Can you see their soul? We are always judging people. We interpret their actions based on our perspectives. We give meanings to what they do that may or may not be true. We judge ourselves. We continually tell ourselves a story of how we don't meet others or our own expectations. We feel like a failure. We doubt ourselves. We forget our own divinity. When we use inspired vision to look at people or ourselves, so you can do it both ways, other people and ourselves, we set aside those emotional reactions. We set aside the judgments, stereotypes, assumptions. We set them aside because if we are looking from a higher perspective, the divine does not judge, assume, make stories up, interpret, give meanings to situations. No. So for us to move into inspired vision, we're going to set those things aside. And we are going to observe another person or ourselves without emotional attachment. If we were to pause a moment and connect with your inspired vision, looking at others or yourself with that view, what do you see? Look past those assumptions, habitual views. What does the soul look like? What is true? You can play with this idea with someone who may disturb you. So somebody who might bother you slightly. So you can think of somebody. And with a deep breath, inhaling the divine, and the intention of seeing with inspired vision, letting go of those assumptions, you can be open to insights. And who are these people at soul level? Everyone struggles with physical problems, and sometimes they get in the way of the expression of our souls, of who we truly are. But you now know how to connect, so you can look at somebody and you can choose to see them at a deeper level. You can choose to step into that energy and look at them, really look at them. You can play this with this when you're shopping, walking on a street with your family. You're energetically connecting with them. You're not violating their space because we're observing, okay? Before you know it, with playing with this idea, your soul will help you see their soul. And you'll be stepping into love and appreciation, even if they are a challenge to spend time with. Even if it's a challenge, you'll start to look at them with more compassion. People want to be seen. Everybody wants to be seen. And when you do this, you're helping them be seen. They don't understand that you have opened your heart and that you're expanding your capacity to look at them from that divine perspective. They don't know that's what's happening. All they know is they now feel seen, even if they're a challenge to you. You'll be making, when you do this, you'll be making authentic connections with people. Your relationships will have more depth and more meaning. You know how sometimes when you're talking to somebody and they're talking and you're not really paying attention, okay? So they're saying something, but your mind is someplace else. That's the time to practice inspired vision. That's the time to practice stop, release whatever was going on in your head, and really pay attention. Hear what they're really saying. We hear the words sometimes, but if we're paying attention, we can hear what's underneath those words. We can hear who they are. When we do this, we're stepping into that love and appreciation. Okay? We're being genuine in our sincerity of connection. Inspired vision is about connecting, whether we're connecting to nature, objects, people, ourselves. You're looking at everything this may or may not improve relationships. It might not, but you're going to feel better because you're going to be living in the perspective of the divine. And then there you go, you will be feeling better. I'm going to check messages. I'm a knitter, and until this exercise I didn't realize that I knit without really seeing or feeling my yarn or reflecting on where its origin is from. Wow, this made a difference in feeling and noticing the colors and pattern. You know what's really fun, Diane, is people, and this applies to everybody as well, is so many times we just do things out of habit and we're not really paying attention. But if we pause and really get into that moment, we can experience all sorts of things. And I would bet, Diane, that you might be able to feel the colors without looking at them physically. I bet you would be able to pick up on the energy of the colors and know. So fun games to play with this. There are lots of things to do. Hi, Ray. How are you today? Tom is saying, sometimes I see people's essence as a small flame of energy just above their heads, and I'm reminded that's who they really are. Who we all are. Right. We are all energy. It's the light of our soul. And when we do this, can you imagine what it would be like if all of us were able to connect with other people from this place of inspired vision, looking at them from the eyes of the divine? Can you imagine what that would be like? And there are people who will not understand what I'm talking about at all. Okay, and some of you may be struggling with it now, but don't worry, you hear the messages in exactly the right timing. So this is a big message, but if you choose to live in this, choose to make these authentic, genuine, divinely inspired connections, you will be raising the vibration of everyone around you without intentionally doing it. You're just living as your divine self. So the third thing here, after playing with looking at surroundings, nature, looking at people, looking at yourself, then you can use this to get a higher perspective on your problems and challenges. I've left this for last on purpose because our problems can carry a heavy emotional charge. If something is going on in our lives, we can get stuck in those emotions. If I had said to you, okay, let's look at your problem and look at it this way, we would still be wrapped up in our heads, worrying, stuck, thinking too much, whatever it is. And because of our problems, we tend to get stuck and trapped in that helpless, hopeless perspective because we're fixated on what's not working in the external. So what you can do with this for your problems, you do the same thing. You're going to breathe, inhale. Inhale is connecting with the divine, getting divine guidance, inspiration. You want to look at your issue from an energetic, higher perspective. Once you get in that space where you relax, do a little bit of breathing, intending to be in that space, you're going to observe the issue without the emotional attachment. So if something bops into your head, that's an emotion, just set it aside for a minute. A way to set that aside is to look at the facts. Facts are not interpretations. He's out to get me. That's an interpretation. Facts are not emotions. This problem is ruining my life and I'm never going to feel better. That's an interpretation and emotions tied together. I'm stupid. Emotions, interpretations. Those are not facts. Whatever the facts are, just list the facts. If somebody said something mean to you, the fact is they said something that hurt your feelings. That's the fact. The interpretation could be they are out to get me, or they hate me, or what did I do wrong, and then you get stuck in your own self trying to figure out how to feel better and all of that. So we don't want to do that. Focusing on the facts helps us to release the emotions that keep us stuck in pain. So if you have an issue you're working through, you want to look at it energetically from that higher perspective without the emotional attachment. Facts will help you move out of emotional attachment, helps you release them. It clears the path so you can connect with the energy that is underneath the physical. Okay? I know this is big. I know this may feel complicated, but don't worry. You will understand it because I know you will. And I also know if this is a new idea for you, that it will take some time to play out in your mind. And what will happen, in all likelihood, many of you will be outside and you'll happen to notice how green the grass is, and you'll think of me. So there you go. It will work. So when you're looking at your problems, your issues, your challenges, what is the divine view? It's possible you might start getting some insights, some messages. Again, if you notice the emotions ramping up, if you notice interpretations stepping in, just set them aside. You can acknowledge them. Oh, yep, there I got an interpretation happening. Oop, I noticed I feel this way. Just set it aside. And to be curious, be open. Maybe whatever you're experiencing, maybe you're going to learn something that this is the only way you can learn it. Maybe this is it. This horrible situation is teaching you something really important, and this is the only way you could learn it. So what lesson might be here within this issue or problem that has to do with self-growth? Maybe it's time to speak your truth, or it's time to decide to trust yourself. Maybe trusting yourself or the divine is essential. What's the truth of the energy from that higher perspective? Now, once you start looking at the problem, issue, concern from that higher perspective a little bit energetically, being open to messages, guidance, frequently that message and the guidance will come to you. The insight will come as to how to handle the problem. We're going to allow those messages and guidance to come to you. Sometimes they'll come to you in the middle of the night. Sometimes it'll be 2 days later. Sometimes it'll be right at that moment. Don't worry about it. Don't sit there thinking, oh, I thought I was going to get a message and it didn't come. I really want some help on solving this problem. No, you're going to trust it's going to come to you in its divine timing. Our problems and challenges can really drag us down, can't they? Because there are so many. There are so many. And we all have them, and we're human. And that's how life is. We're human. So we're trying to, at this point, reconnect more strongly with our soul's perspective, with that divine perspective, so we can see life from such a different angle. It's amazing. So what you're going to do, moving on and wrapping up here, you're going to establish that connection with the divine with your simple breath and intend to view life from that divine perspective. Remember, inspire, inhaling the divine. Inhaling the divine, connecting with it is literally a breath away. That's not hard. We all breathe. That's easy. You can do this. As you do this, you're going to be living from that higher energetic viewpoint, and you're going to be releasing the pain and suffering that keeps you stuck, that keeps you feeling helpless, hopeless. You'll be looking at it differently. This will not magically make your problems disappear, but it can magically make your reaction to those problems disappear. Because then you're back in your soul again. You're back in your light. You're back connected as you should be. And as you connect with this energy of your surroundings, the people, don't forget to connect with yourself. Connect with your problems. Energetically connect with your problems. You're going to be divinely guided. And you're going to be embracing that connection that you have with everything. And win-win here, you're going to be happier because you're living from that divine perspective. You're creating a spiritually meaningful life. And when you do that, guess what else? You're going to be having limitless joy and gratitude. Isn't that amazing? And it all comes from your breath. Being willing to take that and inhale the divine, living from inspired vision. And that is my little mini course for you today. As you know, I do like to give you little mini classes every week and see if it helps you and helps you move forward with your life. So if you have not followed me yet, Colleen Vander Zyden, Medium and Intuitive Life Coach on Facebook, and some of you I've invited. Check and see if you've accepted. And also my website, ColleenVanderZyden.com, quick link, psychic medium, Colleen.com, and of course, LilydaleAssembly.org, because the catalog is there. You can see everything that's happening. Absolutely everything that's happening. So many wonderful things going to be. I have heard rumors that we are going to have a somewhat normal Lilydale season. So I think they're intending that the workshops will be in person. I feel like they're also going to be online at the same time. I'm going to confirm that. I'm going to send a message to somebody and find out, because it's a whole different ball game teaching online and in person at the same time, and I'm not sure they recognize that. So we'll see how that goes. But I have heard this is going to happen, so I know that we are going to be having the outdoor services as we did last year, and I know mediums will be working, and I'm already getting bookings. I don't know what's going on July 9th, but I only have 2 openings left, and there must be something happening that day. So if you're planning on coming July 9th and you're looking for a reading, you best be getting on it with me or anybody else, because something must be happening. So there you go. What else do I have to tell you? I felt like there's something else. Well, I can't remember. So I want to thank you so much for joining me, and I'm looking forward to talking to you next week, and I'm also looking forward to seeing you this summer. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.